What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Fantastic Frankey. I see y'all was waiting. Omar Homan already starting. Um, with beauties are always late, but we're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the X-Men 97, episode 9, spoiler review. I'm here with my co-host, Black Gay Comic Geek. Tell
Hey,
everybody what's up.
how's it going, everybody? It's me, Black Gay Comic Geek. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. Welcome to my safe haven, everybody.
I love it. And we have a very special guest here today. One of my biggest girl crushes.
Mine
The
too,
very,
mine too.
you're such a copier. You're such a copier. Oh
Whatever.
my God. I can't even have a crush to myself. Okay. Tiffie, Starchild, welcome. Tell everyone about yourself for those who are living under a rock.
Oh, hi, I'm Tiffie Starchild, and I'm a content creator. So you might see me on TikTok. I do the villain PR, so I just like to defend villains and things like that. And that is what I do and with my time on the internet. So
Well, welcome. We're so excited to have you.
thank you.
We've been doing the X-Men 97 reviews weekly since the beginning, and it's been a lot of fun. And now we're in the nooks and crannies
The thick of
of
it.
this. We're in the thick of this episode, so I'm so happy to have you here, just to have fun and to talk about this like really heavy episode. So let's get started. Um, so this episode, I feel like, was one of those episodes that were really about like showing perspectives, right? Because since the beginning, I feel like there's Magneto's side and there's Charles's side, and we really got that question of which one is right, you
Mm.
know? But I'd love to know what are your initial thoughts of this episode?
Tiffy, you go first since you're the guest.
Ooh, my initial thoughts were it wasn't as shocking as last week's. I think, especially if you're on Twitter and you're following some of the creators of it, they've been dropping a lot of hints or giving a lot of just really a lot of community interaction. And Bo DeMeo, one of the things that he said was that these last three were really his big one. So I think me personally, as a fan, going into the 3-part season finale, last week's episode was so crazy. This one still had the really heavy stakes, but it wasn't as shocking. But that kind of makes me nervous for the finale because
Mm.
it feels like I'm being lulled into like a false sense of security, even though really big things happened. And obviously, Wolverine having the adamantium ripped from him is a pretty big deal. I don't mean to downplay that, but like, so that was my thoughts about this episode.
Love it.
I love this episode overall. And I appreciated the fact that you know how sometimes when you look at like a movie trilogy, the second one is never really as good as like the first or the third. But this
Mhm.
one didn't feel like a middle movie or a middle part of the trilogy. Like it still felt like a great continuation of everything that was going on. And also, this seems like a great thesis statement of the overall message of this movie of like, what happens with oppressed minorities when you're constantly vilified and challenged and threatened, and you have those multiple factions and different sides that always end up popping up with both the Charles side, the Magneto side, and a little bit of the faction of the in-between. Because one thing that I wrote down is I feel like Cyclops is becoming like a medium of both.
Mm.
Yeah. I I think Cyclops is going to be radical. I think we're watching him wake up personally.
Yeah,
Personally. I
I
mean,
mean,
well,
what we know from what he becomes, but I'm just saying, based on this, I feel like right now he seems like a medium of both.
no, I'm saying even based on this, he doesn't. He blasted Charles to all hell for his like own
He
his
nicked him
he
to
nicked
all
it.
hell is a little bit
My
extreme.
boy was on the floor. He was like, ah, his
True,
No, he
but
didn't
he
just
also
hit
his
didn't
thing
him.
was
side. He also
dented.
didn't
He
side
had
with
to
Magneto
he
either.
had to stop him. All he did was just hit pause on him just a little bit. He hit the corner of his little wheelchair situation and he was fine. He just had to interrupt. That's all. That's all he
It's
did.
all good, Tiff. We actually got the I keep that thing on me so we could do the playback
Sure,
all the
let's
times.
get it.
I think I remember seeing his joint dented. Like when he got blasted.
Yes, Cyclops is powerful, but you can't deny that he intentionally did that to try to reduce the harm to the actual person inside the wheelchair. But he did have to stop him.
That's fair. That is fair. And actually, let's just go into the whole professor thing, because this entire episode was about like reading the professor, and I was here for like everybody got their turn. Everybody got their turn. Everybody got their turn to like yell at him. And I like I'm sorry, I had to take this screenshot because he's not even looking at, at him, and he's black in here. He's like, yo, look at everything. This is all your fault. And I think that it is like Charles's fault. He reminds me of like Ned Stark in the way that like he is so principled and he believes in everyone to the highest extent, even to the detriment of other people, and not thinking about the greater good. Like he's like, I want this to happen. I have this idea of happening, and just life doesn't work that way.
And it's also full respectability politics, because like he's so for the dream of mutant and human camaraderie and togetherness that he's willing to throw his fellow mutants under the bus to achieve that goal. Like even like when you think about what's going on in the comics with Krakoa, and like when Orcus came and attacked them, he made all the mutants go into that gate instead of trying to fight. Where you got something like Cyclops, he's like, nah, fuck y'all. I'm trying, like we going to war. But Cyclops, but Xavier's just pure respectability politics.
Yeah, I think, and Magneto's had him pegged since the beginning, and I'm glad that you brought up the comics and Krakoa, because that's what Magneto said. It's what he tells, I think it was Storm, but he said, watch Charles because he's a good man, and eventually he's going to make a decision that's going to martyr all of us. So, and that's what Charles does. He's so for trying to be fair and trying to be good, which is fine if the other side is kind of playing by that same set of principles or rules, but the other side doesn't do that. Mutants continue to die, and Charles keeps finding reasons to not retaliate. And it's hard because ethically you're like, yeah, I see that, but the reality is, nah, they just committed genocide against us. What do you mean go easy? Wolverine stabbed Magneto through the back. What do you mean, Magnus? No, he stabbed me. I'm gonna rip the metal off of his bones, and I don't really want to hear anything about it. Like,
and he was talking shit in his ear. He was whispering in his ears while he did it too. He was up on him. He was like, "Yeah, I don't fuck with war, bro." And I was like,
"Right." And you expect me to just take that disrespect? No, don't do it. Fuck you, first of all. Like, don't tell me, the victim, how to respond to this violence against me. That's crazy. But Charles really doesn't give a fuck. He's so interested in being the better person and being like the bigger man. And it's not even him on the front lines that he's risking, it's his child soldiers. So
and he's never on the front lines. And that's one thing I've said, like back when I was reviewing the original series, is that like he'd be home and Magnus is on the field fighting his boys. So I'm like, so your ex is fighting them, but you not out. And that's one thing. I mean, they're in love. It's so clear. But Charles is more concerned. I'm glad you guys brought up respectability politics, because I was like, at this time, why are you talking to President Kelly? What he gonna do for you?
What is he gonna do?
What is he gonna do for you? And I was just getting so tight in his mind. Like he knew that he couldn't roll up to his office. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, we're not in a place of diplomacy at this point. So what did you hope to gain here? And he ain't get shit, but tell Senator Kelly to get ready, honestly. And now I'm like, we're about to see probably Captain America again without no shield, I hope.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
I hope he don't got no shield. I hope he there tight.
Nah, he found he got like he had like Wakandan tech. He called Black Panther to be like, yo, help me find this shield.
What? The Wakandans can't find their own vibranium at times. They're gonna find this shield in a mountain. Absolutely not. So see, if my suspicions are right, and this is like, there are a lot of hints that this may be like MCU adjacent. That Wakanda is not as resourceful to me or as powerful as like comic book Wakanda, me personally. So I wouldn't worry about that. But either way, Charles, I think that we're seeing something between Charles and Magneto, and we're seeing Magneto kind of go back to what he was, and we're seeing Charles do the same. We're seeing them both regress, and then I think in both instances, neither one of them are good for what we need. Like they're on polar opposites of this pole, and we don't need that, and we're not going to see progression the way that they're moving.
I do agree with that because like I feel like the thing about both and that's also why even in like Genosha you saw both of their statues there to show we need both of these ideals to come together. And then also not only just that, but like and that's the thing I love about Magneto, because they also showed that, and I know this is gonna sound weird saying this, but Magneto is a terrorist, but he is a what's the word I'm trying to use? He is a reasonable terrorist.
Not really. Not until this season. Before that, he was not a very reasonable terrorist. He was a relatable.
We're just talking about this season.
No,
but I would say reasonable in the sense of like, and again, it's weird to say that, a reasonable terrorist. Don't cancel me. But like in this season, at least, and the reason I say reasonable is because in the sense of like, he did try. Like when Charles died or whatever, he did try to do better. And we had that whole scene where he was like, I'm trying to be a good person. I'm trying to actually live up to Charles's ideals. This is the thing that he wanted me to do. Do not let me let you down. He said to the UN. And then they ended up doing Genosha. So you can kind of tell, like,
I don't think it's reasonable to be like, well, he hasn't murdered anyone all season until the end. Like you don't get propers for doing for adhering to the standard of humanity. You get what I'm saying?
I don't think that it's about giving him propers, but the whole point is that he was being reasonable. Like he literally was trying to follow Charles' ideology, and his thinking is, okay, I tried it your way, and people that followed me, that trusted me, have died. I told that child to not be afraid, and I watched his little eyes get vaporized inside his tiny little skull because he trusted me, and I was following what you wanted. I tried it your way. I can't do it your way anymore. So I think the whole point is that prior to, X-Men 97 and revisiting the X-Men, yeah, Magneto was out there really wilding out, but he very intentionally, he said it several times in the season, I'm different now, especially when they thought that they were clever rolling up with those plastic guns. And he was like, your helicopters are metal, stupid, and they're still on. Like, what do you want? So he told them right then and there, I'm going to allow you to arrest me to show you that I can be different. Right after it was revealed that, Charles had left him the X-Men. So I think that the whole point was that he did try to be reasonable, and that shit did not work out.
I also think he liked the new him.
No, I think he hated it. I think he hated every moment of it personally. And that's why Rogue was up in his room trying to console him, right? Like he wasn't really accepted by the X-Men. He was going against his nature. And every time they had to talk him off the ledge. I don't think he enjoyed it. And I think one thing that the episode doesn't really portray or harp on is like how serious that EMP that he put out and what it did. Like Charles says in lines along something about like thousands have died, and like you don't think about it, but I'm like, he shut off all electricity.
Yeah, it'd be millions.
Planes fell off.
Maybe
nuclear plants blew up probably. And I just wish, even if it was like 10 seconds, if they just showed like the destruction that happened, because it just kind of looked like the lights turned off. To me, that's how I was looking at it. I was like, the lights just turned off. What are you talking about, thousands? And then I thought about it.
I think that's also
I think that's one of the things.
Go ahead.
Maybe not the Disneyfication, because they showed Wolverine's claws all the way up through his guts, and I knew that we wasn't gonna get no Disneyfication of this show. When Madeline Pryor, they had that camera angle, so we were looking right up at her, her goodies, and she opened up her legs before she stood up. I was like, oh, this show is not for the children. Like, no, that's when I knew that Disney was just footing the bill for this shit, but they were not. I think this whole thing about Disney making things G-rated, we could let that die. They don't really do that. I think they realize that their audience isn't all children and G-rated, and they're not giving us a show that falls into that category. But I do think that the entire show has been rushed, and so we don't get moments that should be impactful. We didn't see Storm really have any reaction to Gambit's death, even though they have a history. We didn't see a lot of just maybe the filler episodes or just like the filler moments that kind of give more humanity or just more of a moment to the X-Men. And those are pretty important, especially when you have comic books. We get so much information, an abundance of information in that medium, and they're adapting so many of those stories, but they're hitting the major points of it, the major plot points, but they're missing a lot of the emotion. They're hitting some of it, but they're not getting all of it. And it's because it's so rushed. I'm not complaining because I think that so many of the decisions that they're making are working out. But it would be nice if we could take more time in these moments. I don't know. We need more episodes. We have proven that the show works. The first season was great. Let's get more money. How does it work? I don't know the process.
And not even just Gambit's death. And I wrote this down in my note. They had time to explain why Forge's leg works, but they didn't give time for Storm for Gambit's death. Madeline versus Jean, nothing. Like Nate, where's Nathan? What happened to Bishop? Like Storm, like I wanted a moment where she's like, I left y'all niggas for like 5 minutes.
What I wanted one line where somebody was like, "Your hair looks so different. It looks great." Like, how did
no one acknowledged her hair? Nothing.
Like all those white people, and nobody said, "Oh my God, your hair grew so quickly." Cap, bro.
Yeah, is that a wig? Is that a wig? Like,
yeah,
no one tried to touch it. Nothing. And in the comic, like the little prequel for it, we see that she gets the hair because it's dumb, it's stupid. She's going to a Dazzler concert with Jubilee. And she's wearing like a 2-piece suit, and she's like, "Do I not look great for this concert?" And Jubilee's like, "Yeah, you look so cool." It seems weird that Jubilee wouldn't then be like, "Oh, you changed your hair again, nice," or something to tie that together. It's not important, but I don't know, just little things.
It's important to me, but I do agree, Tiff, that there's like not enough time, and so they're like trying to prioritize. And I kind of feel that way about Bastion, where like he's this big bag that they've been kind of sprinkling throughout the entire series, but I don't feel as invested or as connected to him as I do someone like Sinister. Right. Even though he's controlling Sinister at the time, he just seems like a brat to me. There's this scene here where he's consoling his mom, which I realize they're all in agony, right? Like they're all crying and in agony, which is one thing. But I'm like, why are you tripping about your mom? You condemned her to this.
You did it. You did it to her. Why are you so sad? That doesn't make sense to me. That did not make sense.
I was glad to see her go. She was creepy as well. I mean, there's a lot of horror in this.
I mean, it made sense to me, I think, only because in his mind, because he's technically like a robot. So in his mind, he made his mother a robot. So like, to me, I think he was making his mother better. And now she's like dead. Like she's not just like her robot self is dead.
In the comics, they don't have any thoughts though. And he knows that because he links with them telepathically, right? They're like, it's like mind flayer lore. Like once you become one of these, you're done. Remember Rogue like touched one and then like she had no thoughts? You just become a shell of your former self. And so he knows that. He knows that because he's been testing on other people before he lined her up.
Okay, cry me a fucking river. I do not care. You did it. Like
I don't care about him. I'm just saying.
I don't care. Like it's so sad, but you did it. You did it to your mother. You did it to your entire hometown. Like I don't know. And
your entire hometown.
Your entire hometown. And anybody that like signed up to it because they were so racist or whatever, like I don't feel sad for you.
Did they all sign up for it? Like I thought some people involuntarily got changed, right? Like Beast Girl, I don't think she signed up for it.
Yeah, I have a question about that too.
Apparently someone saw a tweet where she was tricked into it. And then he did say in the episode that people that did consent didn't really even know what they were fully consenting to do. So my thing is just like, I can imagine, because it's also supposed to mirror, the real world. And you can see the government, if they were able, putting forth a program going, hey, do you want to be able to protect your friends and family from this mutant threat? sign up for this program and you will be able to ensure humanity moves forward, or having like some kind of propaganda like that, and people genuinely thinking that they're doing the patriotic thing by signing up for this program. But fuck them anyway, because it's rooted in fucking speciesism or whatever the fuck it is, xenophobia, whatever the fuck. And at the end of the day, I don't feel sorry for them. I refuse. So,
Yeah, I agree. And I think Beast kind of talked to her. So I was confused on why he was mourning her, because like he told her on Genosha, like, you were exploiting us for views and you really don't care about us. And she really didn't have a rebuttal to that, except for like, dang, I guess that is kind of messed up. And then she attacked him. And I was like, Beast, I just need you to stand up. Like, the girls like Beast. He don't gotta be this desperate for it. You know what I'm saying? The girls will. He gets it. I don't know. But I agree. I think anyone who signed up for it is in some way rooted in xenophobia, right?
Yeah.
But Beast is a little bit of a Candace Owens, so like a little bit.
I think that he should have taken that pillow and just put it right over her face and held it there until she didn't breathe no more.
The darkness. I wish I could put the comments on on Instagram right now are hilarious. I wish I could put them up, but yes, everybody believes that he should stand up, and he wouldn't do anything like put a pillow on someone's face. But I wanted him to, at the very least, have her up out his bed in the house. How many good beds are in that house right now?
Right.
You know?
Put her in the recruit. We did a tour of the X-Men. Like, put her in the recruit room.
In the recruit room.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, let's go on to the planning stage. I love whenever people start to get a plan together. I just love looking at like people's thought processes and like how they plan on attacking it, because I know what's going to ensue after will not follow whatever they figure out in this room. And I feel like this scene was a great way of like reminding us like who everyone was on the team and like establishing roles. This is my question, which we'll like really get into later. Whose plan do you think this was?
When Cyclops says blue team here, gold team there.
Yeah. Do you think he talked to the professor and then said, this is the plan? Do you think he established this entire plan himself?
I think some of it's come from Xavier, because I feel like Cyclops would have been smarter. Like,
what do you think was a smarter decision?
Not to have Wolverine go fight. Granted, I know they wanted to have that moment, and then plus, like in the comic, he was on the blue team, but like, it don't make no like that. Don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense. Him just like, why would you put the metal man against the guy that can control metal?
Wolverine, though, that was my question. Because I thought the same way. Beast had to be there. Beast and Forge had to be there for just in case something happened with the equipment, right? Storm is the only one who could get that mass of Sentinels or whatever. Same for Jean. They needed someone who could do a big group. So those two were out. The only one who I thought was interchangeable was Morph. But then I was like, damn, what if they had that plan B for Morph to change it to someone so he could sneak in?
Have Wolverine stay home.
Yeah, say, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, have him stay home.
It doesn't make sense. Yes, it's the metal man going against the guy that controls metal. It never made sense to me.
I think some of it too were two things. One, they're like, all we gotta do is get his helmet off and we're gonna be good. And two, I think they still believed they didn't think Magneto was gonna take it. They for sure couldn't fathom him pulling the adamantium out of his thing, but I don't think that they're like, we can rush him, it'll be fine. Like, we're just trying to distract him until our plan is done. And so I don't think that they thought it was going to get that far. I don't think he thought it was going to get.
But he also probably, like what Tiffie said, he also wouldn't have done that had Wolverine not basically stabbed him thugh the chest. So Magneto, like, oh, you feeling froggy? I'm gonna leap to, like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's what we're doing, I've been very kind to you up until this moment, but now we're stabbing people. I see. So here we go.
Oh, we stabbing people.
We're
Copy.
stabbing
Copy.
people today.
I do want to say, and I know we're gonna. I really want to get into depth of the scene once we get there, but I do want to say when Magneto goes to constrain everyone, he uses metal to like wrap him around, but Charles he just knocks him out of his chair, and I don't know why that shit was so funny to me. I'm like, respect my boy Charles. Wrap him up like everybody else. Like, I don't know why it got me so tight. He just
Not even just
knocked him
that, but
out
he
the
covered his
chair.
mouth and was like, "Shut
Shut
up!"
up. I was like,
No, beyond that, him saying, what was the line about walking this man's path, but the man in question is in a wheelchair? That's not right. Why would you say that to somebody? That's really rude.
because
You didn't have to
Magneto
go
been
there.
reading people all day, like the whole season, and that's why I'm like, it's so easy to root for Magneto because that man is so charismatic and he's spitting every single like every time he opens his mouth. I'm like, damn, he got a point. You know what I mean?
But this also goes to show that the two of them are jilted lovers. Like this is the breakup phase of the, and because you know how sometimes when you're together with somebody, you know their triggers, you know what to say to hurt them. And so that's exactly what Magneto was doing in this moment. Like even like when he kind of said, like, Charles, I walked your path for a little bit. I gave it a try. When you gonna try mine?
I need to know what Magneto is eating. You think he's vegan? Like that man is in shape. At this point, he's what, 60 something? 65, 66?
I don't pretend to understand their ages at all.
Because that man is moving. He's moving. He keeping
definitely
up.
on the vegan diet.
Well, doesn't his mutation also slow down his aging?
Yeah, but like to keep up with like Cyclops is like 25 and at the prime of his health. Cable is like, he's keeping up with Bishop. Bishop got future health. 20-year-old black man. Nah, come on. Come on, man. Come on.
They go back and forth because I mean, technically, Magneto should be like 100, but you know, comics.
No, but in this, right? How old is he when the Holocaust hits?
So 97, probably he should be like in his 70s.
He's 60. He's 60. He's in the 70s or 80s because if it happened in the 40s, he was not like a baby. He was old. He was like 10 or 12. But
Wolverine is like 200 something, but he also he also got a healing factor.
Yeah, that don't count. No, whatever. We'll back to our schedule.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
We could be thinking about that all day. Oh, so they said by 97 he's 67.
Okay.
That's fine. At least we got an answer.
Yeah, thanks for the math. Clearly.
Right. No, yeah.
You're
like we don't got calculators on our phone.
Math is crazy. Someone said Xavier is right behind him, but Xavier don't do nothing but stay in that chair. So
Xavier in a Speedo. We saw Magnus in his, and we were like, ooh. If I saw Xavier in a Speedo, I'd be so pissed off.
I'd be disgusted. I'd be like, what?
I'm turning on my camera. I did not sign on to be harassed.
Yeah, change the channel. Like, what is this?
Something about that picture, that image of like Magneto and that X is that his feet are pointed down.
But like this right here with the arms out. Like, come on, like
closed shoulders. Absolutely.
Meanwhile, we got to see Xavier in that dusty green suit. Go get another one. You have so much money.
So rich. They went through how many planes?
Like three.
They said 3 in 3 months.
3 in 3 months. That's how much cheese they got to not even consider it.
Jean could have saved the Porsche. She chose not to. They
were having a moment. They were having a moment. You know what I'm saying? He is rich, and to not have a bespoke suit, and he's also supposed to be British, is insane, right? But anyway, I'm sorry.
But real quick, something that I just thought of when you're talking about money, because like there was a moment in the beginning of the episode that made me think of Invincible. I was like, oh damn, they ran out of a budget. Like when Xavier extended his hand to go to shake the Cyclops, and Cyclops walked past him. There was a moment where Xavier, he was just frozen. He wasn't moving. He wasn't even looking. He wasn't blinking. He wasn't doing nothing. And I was like, damn, that's an Invincible moment where they had him.
I thought he was just tight.
But no, they didn't have him blink. But I was like, that's an Invincible moment where they ran out of budget, so they didn't have him moving.
Well, it's still though so much higher budget than I've ever seen, and it's so nice, especially in the intro, to seeing some like iconic scenes and fight scenes animated so well, because like the story in X-Men the animated series was so good, but the animation is ass. And so like a fight will happen and you don't feel the impact, versus like these fights are happening, you're like, damn. Like that fight with Jean and Sinister was ill.
That fight was
With
that fight was
you
dope.
know what I'm
I
saying?
think
When
that's why they made budget sacrifices in other places. All the places where we're like, ooh, this looks kind of weird. We don't say that about any of the fight scenes. I think they made some sacrifices over there so that we could have a little something different over here. And in that context, I am okay with it. I'll take every little funny, funky moment just for the fight scenes that we've
agree.
gotten this entire season. The fight scenes have been crazy. That Wolverine Nightcrawler combo, we had Cyclops moments, Storm moments. We got so much from this show. Like, it's crazy.
But part of me is still just like, damn, but can you imagine if the people that did Castlevania did the animation for, like, damn.
Agreed. But
I'm hoping again, we got a first season. We did such a great job. More money for us.
Because they have the cheese. And you know what? Unlike Invincible, though, Invincible animation is consistently okay throughout the entire season. So even like the fight scenes, I'm like, damn, when I was reading it, it was more lively. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel that here. But we go on, goddamn it, move on this story and get to Storm regulating. Last week, everybody was like, "Where's Storm?" And I made a video talking about like, give this chick a break, because she's gonna pull up and she's gonna carry the weight of this entire team. And I felt like every time something needed to be done, Storm was there. Storm was there to reaffirm emotionally. Storm was there to check these bozos who was ready to. This man was gonna start the tech that got her neutralized in the what?
And she should have let them. I'm sorry. I understand why she does not want them to use the neutralizing technology, but it's war, madam. This man wants to kill your kind, and we should take his powers away, essentially. That's a really great plan, actually. That's a beautiful plan.
But we just learned that him doing it for a good plan to help us ended up making it into a weapon. So just creating that tech at all, because Forge is the only type of person who could create that tech, will eventually come to bite them. And that's her point.
But on the flip side of that, because of what happened to Aurora, he now knows how to reverse it if it were to backfire on them.
But it's gonna evolve.
It's already the tech is already there. Like the tech already existed. Like the him in that moment, the tech already exists. They were just adapting it because Bastion isn't a mutant, so they had to adapt the tech to his specific quirks.
Because remember, he said he specifically didn't make the neutralizer collar. He just came up with the plan for it to somewhat exist. And then that other guy, I can't think of his name, but the one that Mystique impersonated in the other series, he's the one that actually made it. So yeah,
so then imagine if the tech, when he does create the tech, because he's creating a tech that's more than the tech that was already out there. I'm just saying, as we evolve, tech is something very dangerous to play with. Kill a nigga, absolutely. Let's kill him. But I think when we're putting out tech, it opens a door that we need to have foresight for it. And I think that was her, like, obviously she has trauma, but beyond that, she's like, we need to be thinking about what's going to happen, especially with these dummies. This nigga Beast is going to share that tech with somebody he shouldn't. He got that hole in his bedroom right now.
He trying to bring her back.
He's a dummy.
He trying to bring her back.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? How you going to kill him without it? Pull them cords out, these nerds. I didn't mean to highlight that. I'm so sorry. I meant to highlight this one. Can somebody kick this man out of our chat?
Shout out to Omar Home and Black Nerd Problems.
Yo, insane. But I feel y'all. I do feel y'all. But yeah, finally Rogue woke up.
Being dramatic.
Yo, she woke up with an attitude, which I would have too. I would have woke up with an attitude.
Yeah, because she got punched one time and that man knocked her out. Like, but I like how she not only is she back in her villain outfit, but she's wearing Gambit's
jacket here.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about this episode, going back to what you said, like everybody got that. That's the thing also that made this one of my favorite episodes. Everybody was taught, like they basically told Charles he ain't shit.
Everyone.
Everybody.
I wish Storm got a moment.
knew him for 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
He was like,
why did you fuck up so much, man? And he's like, who are you?
Who are you? They didn't even meet.
I wish Storm got a moment to tell he wasn't shit, but like basically everybody had like, and that includes this moment, like, because he's basically like, oh, Remy shouldn't have been buried in the bayou. She's like, what the fuck? Like, that's where he's from. Like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, I was like, he got some nerd talking about he should have been buried in the bayou. I was like, bro, you wasn't here from their home. But you wasn't here to help us bury him anywhere.
Nobody read him for that, and I don't like that. What do you mean you're still alive? We mourned you.
No, they knew he was alive.
No, they knew he was alive.
I always thought that they did not know that he was alive.
No. But fucking Milky Way Ghetto pulled up to them and was like, we could go fix him. Cause this shit is ghetto. Ain't no way y'all gonna fix him here. And they was like, okay. So I mean, it's assumed that he was alive. And that's why Morph made that joke.
Dead.
Yeah, no, they knew. They just didn't know if he could ever come back.
Yes. So that was a big. They thought like he had to stay out there to, I guess,
to stay alive.
That was the implication. Like whatever they was using.
I have to see how I feel about that. I feel that he's still guilty, and I just need to figure out why.
I mean, always
he's still guilty because he could have communicated with them this whole. Like Lalandra was like, "Yo, we got these hollow cube. Like, talk. You keep talking about your students. Go talk to them." And he's like, "Nah." So he's still guilty
because he wanted to leave that world behind, right? Like, I feel like Charles wanted to move on, and he felt like they was baggage, which he was kind of right. Because the second he looked back home, shit was all fire. So he was like, "Fuck, I gotta come home." But I feel like he was like, the person who leaves like all their home behind, right? Like, I got out the hood. Fuck all y'all. I'm gonna move on.
That's literally what somebody just said. Damn.
Yeah. He's justified the ghetto to leave it when shit got real. Absolutely. But so Magneto returns, which I feel like Magneto also pulled up because he was like, "Bro, you're dead. This is all my stuff." And I feel like that was some of the dominance he was pushing. And that's why he started with "To Me, My X-Men" to them, because he was like, "You don't belong." It was another read to Charles, right? He's like, "You don't belong here. These are my people. And if y'all want to pull up with me, what's up?" He's brawling that. Yo, you think he was on that rock doing push-ups before he floated off? So he looked extra scary.
To get that blood flowing.
Get that blood. He was like, "Ooh, I gotta have that pump."
Yeah, it's been a while. Let me
gotta have a pulling up on an asteroid is the most dramatic thing. Like, I was like, he could have just flew. Like, why he pulled up on that asteroid?
Because that's what gets me.
He's drama.
He also has some nerve telling Charles to shut up when all of them have very long monologues when they're doing absolutely anything. They're so dramatic. Mutants are so dramatic, but at the same time, I feel like I would be the same way. No one wants to walk anywhere. Kurt was 5 feet away from Rogue and was like, "Rogue,
teleport
over next to her." And it's like, you could have taken the 3 steps and would have taken across the floor.
I thought that same thing. I was like, why he teleporting? Like, you wasting energy. Like,
I
but
know
Jean's the same thing. Storm comes in and she's like, "Let me fly over to you." Okay, bitch.
And at the time, she didn't think Storm could fly, so she flew up. Thinking that Storm was going to be on the floor, because when Storm met her in the air, she said, "Oh, wow, you got your powers." And I was like, "Bitch, how was she going to meet you up there? How? You was just going to be flowing, talking about 'I love you'?" Or maybe she had like a routine for the air that she was ready to do. No?
It was probably just instinct. She saw her sister again and wasn't thinking about powers and things like that. Or that
maybe she was going to lift. Maybe she was going to lift her up in the air with her, but then Storm was like, "Nah, bitch, I can meet you."
But I can meet you right there, like she was on her way. Let's say that. Let's say that. I do say
positive.
I love their relationship this season. Like,
Agreed.
I
Mhm.
feel like I've never felt like any type of friendship between them. Like, they've always seemed cordial. But looking back at the original series, I don't think they really had the women didn't really have a personality at all. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like Jean sacrifices herself, Storm monologues before she uses her powers, but there was nothing definitive about any of them. And I feel like I know these characters now where I know how they're going to react to certain things. Like even when I was watching that scene where Beast and Forge are like playing together, I was like, Storm's not going to like that. And I never had a moment watching the original series like that.
I think the only one out of all the female characters that they gave a personality to was really Rogue
Yeah.
in the original animated series. But yeah, I love the fact that we're
And
getting
Mystique. Mystique had personality for some reason. It was just up to.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I love the fact that we're getting to see the sisterhood between Storm and Jean, because a lot of people don't realize like these are best friends. And I feel like they forget that sometimes in the comics where like these are two best friends, like they've been in the trenches together, the sisterhood. So like I'm loving to see the relationship between them, and then just even outside of each other, like you said, getting to see their individual personalities develop. Like when they had that conversation in episode 2 about Nathan and Storm and each different personalities and everything like that. So I appreciate.
Also, they're omega level mutants, which
Yeah,
is
both of
rare.
them.
So it's like I'm also relating to you as like my baddie friend. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, they're
we
equal.
are on the same level. We're equals. People pursue us
Carrying this
because of
team
our
on our
power.
backs.
Carrying
Mhm.
this team. Well, this Gene is finally carrying this team. Gene
Yeah, she's
before
not fainting no more. She not.
she would do one thing, and I was like, she just don't want to be there. After a while, I was like, Jean just don't want to be there, and so she got to make up an excuse because ain't no way she fainting after moving a
That
car.
much. Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
I was on another podcast and they were saying that about Storm and Bishop in that first episode. Like they both took one hit and laid out, but they were just being extra black and being like, you know what? I'm not getting paid for this. Let me
Right.
just, I'm a,
Yeah, they were like, oh, they can handle this. Cyclops
no,
coming,
thank
right?
you.
He love this. He gonna come in sliding. Let him have his moment. Agreed. Agreed. But I love it. But this
that
scene here, almost made me cry. Like just to hear Storm be like, you inspire me, and like seeing you overcome these things inspired me to be more myself. I was like, this is sisterhood. Who wrote this? You know?
Do you think with Jean having to square off against Cable, do you think that we're going to see the Phoenix?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The first
I've been
thing I
saying for a
thought
while.
was
There's
this
a
bitch
reason
is
because
always
everything.
dying.
Not even just that, but everything that they've been showing in the opening, they've called back to at a certain point. And we've been seeing like Dark Phoenix and the Phoenix since the beginning. So I'm like, there's a reason that they keep showing the Phoenix. There's got to be a reason.
And they said Phoenix like 10 times this season.
Yeah.
They
Even
said
in
it.
this episode, like I thought that was so intentional. Like she gives this random, like, "Oh, you're gonna rise like the Phoenix," and it's like, why would you bring that up right now? Why would you say that? Like, I just feel like they're giving us a hint of what's gonna, like, a bit of foreshadowing.
I didn't get a B-roll for this, but that before Rogue left, she started fucking roasting everybody on that team. And I was like, Rogue, you're already leaving. And she was like, who next? Jean?
Who's
Big
next? Yes,
shocker.
Yeah.
you're gonna die. Morph was on the team for 30 minutes before he got, or they got taken the fuck out. I'd be like, God damn,
Yeah.
God damn.
I was like, the disrespect. She said, your mom's is whack. Your dad's is like.
Cause who really gonna see Rogue either? And I think that's a piece of it too. Like most of them can't really see her. So
Just blast it with some lightning. Like,
maybe. But then Magneto was right there too. So she's like, yeah. Like there that episode in X-Men, the animated series, there's an episode where they go to save Gambit from the bayou, and it's Wolverine, Jean, and Rogue. And Wolverine kind of rolls up and there's a bunch of swamp people surrounds them. And Wolverine is talking insane because who finna check in with Rogue and Jean behind him? You know what I'm saying? So like he's saying whatever. He's like, yeah, go ahead and fight us. That's fine. Because and I feel like Rogue kind of moves with that energy. We saw that in the last episode where she's like looking for blood because who who can challenge her? Who can really see her? Not many people. She's Captain Marvel. You know what I'm saying? So like I would be talking a little crazy too.
I would too. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
But damn, she ain't. Morph had to catch strays. Like,
I just kept on thinking of Kendrick
the
Lamar.
This is the first time that they acknowledge that Morph is a they.
Yeah, I was like,
I liked hearing that.
She was like, even they fucked up. I was like,
she's talking her shit, but she's not gonna be transphobic about it. So, and I love that for her. Like that's.
He's like, you still trash, but I'm gonna properly gender you right.
Right, you're trash, but I'm not trash. So let's just get that distinction.
Facts.
But I will say, like, going back, so also something that Tiffie said earlier, since we're talking about Morph, in terms of like the smaller moments that I wish this show expounded upon, and why I wish they had more episodes, or even the show be an hour as opposed to a half hour. I feel like out of all the characters, Morph is the only one that doesn't really get any character development. Like, their character is only there just to be a cameo machine. But like, and not even just in terms of like, because everybody has a love interest except for Morph, but not even just the love interest, but like this show is heavily about Sinister, who also had trauma with Sinister. It wasn't just Jean and Madeline, but it was also Morph. So there should have been a moment, and maybe it can happen in next week's episode, but like a moment where Morph gets to have a comeuppance against Sinister. There was never a moment, like Frankey talked about it before, where in episode, what was it? Episode 2 or no, episode 3, where they had to go to Sinister's house. Nobody really checked on Morph. It was like, are you okay with doing this? Like, are you good?
Oh no, they did, but it's so brief. To me, that falls in the category of them rushing through that, because they did, even as they're walking up, and I forgot who has that moment with Morph, but they do look, and he pauses and he kind of like nods. It's all nonverbal.
But that's before Sinister goes in his mind, and so nobody checks on him after that. That's after. So that's so like when they're at the house, they check on
when
Morph,
they're approaching. Right? Oh yeah.
But then after he's like, "I'll take you to Sinister's house," and Sinister goes into his mind and weaponizes him again, and they never revisit that. They're never like, "Bro, I know this is a trigger for you," especially Wolverine. I was really disappointed. Mr. Holman said it was Magneto who checked on him. This was sweet. Magneto saved.
It was? I don't remember.
Saved Magneto.
He said, "I deliver it."
A little bit sanctified.
I
do like that since they adapted this story from the comic book, because it looked a little bit different. I when they do comic book assignments, I read them on Twitter. This was not one that I had read before, but apparently it was the introduction of Avalon. And it was at Illyana's funeral, and it was Colossus who makes the speech of basically like, "Hey, I'm tired of seeing my people die." And it was kind of the same deal where they're like, "Magneto, do you have any respect? This is a funeral." And Magneto was like, "Yeah, that's why I'm doing this now, so that we don't have any more mutant funerals." And it just painted this very stark difference between Charles. You're literally at a funeral for Illyana. She was a child. She trusted you. She followed your word, and you still are not seeing like the end, like you're still making excuses for these humans. You're still not willing to do what needs to be done to protect your people. You have such a greater interest in trying to make peace with people that do not want peace with you, and it keeps costing mutant lives. So I thought that was interesting, swapping out those characters in the scenario so that it was Rogue after experiencing Gambit's death as opposed to Colossus after Illyana's.
Right, because they have Colossus, and that's one thing I like about him too. Like, I won't get into Colossus because he's not into this episode, but you're right. I think pushing it to Rogue made a lot of sense. So I really like that. And I still think Magneto is correct in a lot of things that he's saying, and I think he means well. I just don't think it's gonna end well with the way that he's moving. Bishop been gone. I think he been gone because he lost their baby. I wouldn't.
He like, I can't. How am I gonna show myself? Like,
I'm never coming back.
Yeah, I'm never coming back.
I come back and
you had one job. You had one job.
Okay, all right. And you know what? You know what I learned about babies since then? I read a book. Apparently, they need to eat. Did you send me with any food, any formula, any fucking diapers? No, you didn't. So fuck y'all. This is not what I signed up for. You weren't gonna pay me anyway. I did my best. Bye.
He lost the baby on the visit, on the travel. He lost that baby immediately. They got split up.
That was their fault for sending their baby.
Sending their baby to get saved.
You sent your baby. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
No, facts, because why didn't any one of them take Cable's time ban and leave?
if it was that, because they didn't want that kid.
Please go. Not Tiffie, you lawyer. I did see you get serious. And Tiffie is actually a PR rep. I made the same mistake. Tiffie is not JD. She is in PR. So let's get that right.
Time machines don't have car seats.
He was just holding that baby one arm.
Ain't nobody even worried about Bishop being lost. The anti-black. I mean, to be fair though, and Frankey talks about this, Bishop was a slave catcher before, like when.
Yeah,
yeah. So let's not get it twisted when it comes to Bishop.
And it's so funny. Anytime I call Bishop black, people are so quick to be like, he's Aboriginal. I'm like, that nigga gotta fade. Okay, stop it. Race is a construct, and in this construct, he black. He black. His name Bishop. Did Cyclops give him Bishop's costume?
No, Cyclops gave Cable his costume.
His old costume.
Yeah.
That's why it ain't fit.
That's why I was like down here. Like
I was like, yo, oh good, I got it. I was like, this gotta be purposeful that it don't fit. I thought it was Bishop's because it's short sleeve.
Nah, Cable cut the sleeves. He's like, I want to show off these arms.
Cause I was like, this thing is tight. This thing is tight. Also, Cable needs to be nicer to Jean. Every chance he gets, he's like, that's not my mom. Bro, you don't know your mom.
Right.
Yeah, he does.
You don't know the difference. You truly don't know the difference. Yeah. Like
he didn't meet her long enough to be rude to Jean like this.
True, but I feel like, but I actually liked it because it feels like one of those bratty moments where he's getting to be the bratty little.
This not the time.
Bratty kid. Yeah, it's not the time, but like, you're not my real mom. Like, bro, shut up. Like,
because y'all are typing so quickly, I can't keep up, and y'all saying some really funny things, like Cable having. What is Cable keeping it all? And I don't know if I have the picture, but. Cable keeps his gun in his hand at all times. Like, they was at the meeting, Cable was like this.
Because you also got to remember, he came from a dystopian future. Like
stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Frankey claiming black folks did The Rock back in Scorpion King. Hey, newsflash, The Rock is black.
Yeah, The Rock is black.
He's canonically black. His dad is black. His dad is a big time wrestler. What? Damn. That makes me sad. The Rock is for sure black. And that's why he
ain't always claim it in the beginning, though. He ain't always claim it.
No, The Rock, don't play with me on that. The Rock came
out.
She
about to get mad. She about to turn to Dark Phoenix.
He not black no more. I can say he's not claiming black no more, but when The Rock came out, he was black. He said canonically black. Yo, because like
is that how I sound when I get serious about something? Is that the same energy? I see
the same energy. You said, damn, this is an intensity. Yo.
No, I feel that though. No, I like it.
He's not black. He OJ.
Because his dad is also the reason why he is The Rock, right? Like his name, everything is tied to his dad being black. And if y'all watched the Little Rock,
his mother is Samoan. His father's black.
Yes, y'all watch his show. It's on Hulu, The Young Rock, and in it, it's a black man in it playing his dad. He's a wrestler. Y'all, Google is free. Google's free, not the juice. Okay.
Frankie, show the shrine. She got the Rock shrine right behind her.
Not a shrine. It's not a shrine.
You can see the candle from here.
It's just a collection. Some people like to collect things.
I collect so many things. Look how many things are collected.
It's a shrine.
Are there any candles over there?
Actually, yes, I have a.
It's a shrine.
The Rock is the only candle.
No, I got one too. Jason Todd, rest in peace.
Okay, so that's a Jason Todd shrine.
He died.
Yeah, because he died.
He died.
So it's still a shrine. So that's my point.
Google won't be free next year. I'm gonna shut off these comments because y'all sending me. Y'all are sending me for real.
Real quick, we got to do the YouTube thing. We got 227 people watching this stream across all platforms. Most of it is on YouTube and Twitter. But if you're watching the stream, wherever you're watching the stream, do us a favor, hit the like button. If you're watching on Twitter, hit the repost button. It'll help get the stream out there, get the YouTube algorithm out there. Follow Frankie, follow me, follow Tiffie, follow all of these beautiful people, and like, share, comment, interact for the algorithm if you're watching on the replay. Frankie,
amazing. Yeah. So let's talk about this scene. This was so cathartic for me because like every time Jean starts to use her powers, I get nervous that she's gonna faint. Yeah, every time. She gonna go to sleep. So once she started moving things around, I was like, Sinister, no. But she cooked this entire time. And this scene, actually, I'm gonna let y'all talk for a second so I can pull it up. When she knocks him out like this, the sound, everything, you feel it with your whole chest. It's really good.
Not even that, but like I like that the color scheme that they're doing with like all of her powers, like with the all the blue and because I think Madeline's is pink, right?
Madeline's
they differentiate.
Oh yeah, Madeline's pink and hers is blue.
What were you about to say, Tiffie?
Oh, I thought hers was like green and purple when she was like Goblin Queen in it.
When she was Goblin Queen, it was green, but when she's regular Jean, I think, or Jean, I believe it was pink. So
the show has a lot of pink between Gambit's power, and Magneto tends to have a lot of pink signature around him. Like, oh, my computer did something weird, but like I don't know. The show is very colorful.
So maybe that killed it. I have this fight scene. Okay, cool. Because it's just such a good fight scene that it's like. First of all, Sinister.
We ain't never seen him move like that. Where he get the moves?
He be getting his ass whooped. Because the thing about Sinister that's good, that makes him so sinister, is that he's planning things on, and he got capos doing things for him. And so I don't be seeing that him scrub like this. Yes, when she's like, "Yo, cooking." Because so when this happened, I said she fainting right here. I was like, she not getting.
Yeah, up. I was like, she not get. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
She not getting up, but she got herself together. But I love that laugh he does, like the one that's in the intro. It's so good.
I thought like during this moment, like again going back to like the comeuppance, I thought Morph was gonna show up and like when she was struggling a little bit and like hit him with like a 2-piece or something.
So
that it could have been
just had to be her fight. This is what got me the bowling balls.
I know that hurt.
Like.
He said everything in here. Go ahead. I was like, she fainting now though. Once he lifted the roof and was throwing all that stuff, I was like, oh, she going home now. Like this is. I
was wondering if that was Drake. That man to me is Drake.
Is it Drake? Let's go back. Maybe.
Yeah, that's Drake.
This is before the beef.
It's the thought that brought me joy.
Before the BBL.
And he's just floating in the BBL jersey. But since we're here, since we at the Space One, let's talk about this entire, this was my favorite part of the episode, this entire scene where they go. I love seeing them do like reconnaissance and like getting in there. But I also noticed that they let them in on the ship. Also, I hate Rogue's costume. I don't like this bullshit.
I love that costume.
I like the green. Yeah.
It looks like pajamas.
It's like a tracksuit. She like.
Why is she wearing a tracksuit? Look what everybody else.
Sometimes you want to be
got that shit on though.
Yeah, you gotta become like. Sometimes you don't want to be in spandex. Like she like.
That's the patriarchy, sister.
She like who gonna see me? Like who gonna check me?
Also, I didn't even. He goes to kill Magneto here, and Rogue stops him.
Yeah.
She says, you were going for the kill. Look, boom, boom, right? He said, got you. He's going straight. Time out, Sugar. You're playing the kill.
My thing is, has any of those attack methods worked for Wolverine? He just attacked straight on. And it feels like every time we have not seen that really work, just the straight on attack.
Not even just that, but straight on to a man that, sees you coming. And control every part of your body.
But you know, the hubris comes from him being essentially immortal, right? So like if you're gonna heal from it, who cares? I will say this. Someone said this is her classic costume. Just because it's their classic costume don't mean it's hot. Like that to me, that don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Batman's classic costume is stupid to me. You feel me? Like it don't matter if it's classic to me. It's what's the hottest shit out. And to me,
So
right
what
now,
would you wear if you were a superhero?
she came from Pilates.
What would you wear if you were a superhero, Frankie?
This for sure. It depends.
What,
I can wear that. I wear a tennis dress like jean, shorts built in. And what Jubilee has is also like spandex, but she looks very comfortable.
So how come Jubilee gets to be? It's stupid. It's a spandex, so it looks like a onesie with a trench coat and a high collar. Hers is the dumbest costume. And take them goggles off. They're not doing.
And it's hot outside. And it's hot outside with that turtleneck.
She needs the goggles because she's shooting out lights.
I think that she should be fine looking at those lights if she's the one that produces them.
Right. If Dazzler don't need no goggles, why Jubilee need goggles?
I've been going by My Hero Academia rules. All of them need protected gear against their powers. So maybe she one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Costume. I'll take Rogues over Jubilees any day of the week.
You take Rogues?
But I'll take Rogues. But you know who I won't accept? Cyclops. I'm so sorry, but
I don't like the new.
That's what I was gonna say. Like when you talk about classic costume, that's a classic costume, and I don't like it.
I like to see his hair. Like, why you got a hat on? Your hairline still there? Like, show us the goods. You feel me?
I like his hair being out. Like, I don't like this one.
Yeah, I like his hair being out.
Yeah, he's still fine though. You know what I'm saying? I still let it
That's
ride.
Something about Charles rolling up and having to just look up at everyone else fight. He gotta roll forward
because he could have. Because that's another thing too. He watched them fight Rogue and Sunspot. Like, I know he wanted to focus on Magneto, but the helmet not on. So he could have stopped Rogue and Sunspot so that the entire team was focused on getting the helmet off Magneto.
All he care about is the love of his life. That's all.
Don't hurt him. Please don't hurt him. Look, Magneto. I will say, when he does finally shoot up Magneto, does these hurt? These little fireworks?
They should. I don't know about the fireworks, but Sunspot is like solar energy. She should be burning.
Yo, I do have to say this. He does this, right? And then he says, "Hey, I'm sorry, Jubes. You okay?" And then she gets upset, and he said, "I said I'm sorry." And I was like, I cannot stand him. So he reminded me of the
Avengers. It reminded me of the Avengers when Hawkeye and Black Widow were fighting, and like, we still get to be friends after this.
Yeah, Jubes, I said I'm sorry, bro. You attacked me as a supernova. I'm gonna murder you with what I can.
I'm gonna murder you.
Juice powers are the worst. Yeah, she reminds me of Krillin. Like, she just here for the solar flare, let's blind some people and then get the real hitters out. And that's why they normally don't include Jubilee, right? Like,
when you saw Future Jubilee when she was doing them little twerk.
Oh yeah, I think that's why they showed us Future Jubilee, because we haven't been able to see her powers fully realized, but we get a glimpse of what she has the potential to do. And Omar just said her explosions are on a molecular level. Them motherfuckers. Tiny atom bombs.
Like she could detonate atoms on a molecular level. So like, she just has to learn how to do that.
Yeah, but that's not who we got right now.
Just don't give Frankie any power so mercy for breathing.
Yo, facts though. Y'all think I'd be a hero?
But then why you don't like Magneto? Why you talking stuff about Magneto?
I can understand morals and ethics and not adhere to it.
Okay.
Right. I thought it was gonna be a rebuttal. Yes.
Why would I thought it's well understood that I lean towards villains and villain rights.
I mean, you got the whole villain PR, so like, clearly,
but like heroes have the worst life ever. Villains be chilling, they be married, they nobody coming after them, they chilling. They only get in trouble once they like start fucking with the heroes. But like before then, they be chilling.
And to be fair, is Magneto really a villain though? Like he's a
Yes.
villain to humans.
I just want to remind people that killing thousands to millions of people makes you a villain, period. Just because they're not your people doesn't make it less right.
But they trash people, so like
and so this is the parallels that I was trying to avoid earlier when we were talking about like certain real world problems. This is why it becomes dangerous, because sometimes when we connect these allegories to real world problems, we have to also remember that these people have the capacity of murdering multiple people at once, of committing mass genocide from one person. Magneto is still very much a villain. It doesn't matter his intention and who he's trying to protect. At the end of the day, he's responsible for a lot of people's deaths, and that doesn't make him less of a villain because he spits. You know what I mean? It doesn't make him a less of a villain because he's about his people. He's an extreme hotep. I mean,
I don't know about
I don't know about a hotep, but I think that Magneto definitely embraces that he's viewed as a villain, but I think that it's because he recognizes that the world has forced him into the place of a villain. He's only ever responded to violence and injustice against him. He's never sought it out. And so I think that he is a villain, but he's a very justified villain. What is he supposed to do? If he didn't pull his EMP stunt, thousands of mutants would have once again died. And unfortunately, that means that thousands of humans died. But not only did stopping them prevent the mutant deaths, but once again, he's just responding to what happened on Genosha. He's constantly just responding to things. And this is someone that survived the Holocaust, where humans were so awful that they turned around and killed other humans for no reason other than they were different. He sees
even with
how
that,
humanity
like
treats other humans. Like he has no reason to.
Because even also with that, like
humanity.
he experienced the Holocaust, and even that he still didn't like completely go off the deep end. He's just like, I don't want to go through something like that ever again. And yeah, just like Tiffie said, everything that he does, yeah, he kills people. He kills thousands of people. He does that, but it's always in response to somebody. He doesn't just go like Juggernaut would just like, nah, I'm just gonna come in like or Sabretooth. I don't care who it is. I'm going out my way to fuck shit up or whatever. Everything that Magneto does is in response to
everything that Magneto does now is in response to it, right? Let's not forget his other war crimes that was in preparation for.
Why did he do that?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about like in 97, like all the times he's blown up different places, like that wasn't in response. Genosha is the first time that there was an actual terrorist attack. But before then, he was moving dirty. Now, I do agree that he has a reason to, but I think that's the moral question that we're being posed here, right? Like going against more violence with violence never is good. And it reminds me of The Last of Us. That's the entire lesson. It's like a cycle of revenge, a cycle of murder is not going to help. And I know it doesn't seem like it now, but I know next episode, Magneto's going to do something way worse than pulling the adamantium out of Wolverine. Like he's going to do something very terrible, and he's going to kill some muties in the process. Because remember, he's the type that's also going to kill mutants. If you don't say fuck all humans, you're dead too. Like he's not just kill humans. He's killed anyone who don't fuck with me.
I don't think, I mean, it's just hard to, there's no other choice though. He has tried to be reasonable. He's tried it Charles' way. Charles has tried it Charles' way to no avail. Mutants are still persecuted and they're killed. I just cannot blame Magneto. I saw a tweet, but I think I think it highlighted it really well. Magneto being introduced as a villain made a whole lot of sense back when he first debuted, but it gets increasingly difficult to justify him as a villain in a post-Reagan world. He's more and more justified in his actions, and I think that that's true. No, you don't justify killing with more killing, but it's war. unfortunately, and he did not throw the first blow. Even after he's blowing up buildings and doing things like that, the situation itself might not be in retaliation or in response to something directly that the humans did, but overall it is a war of humanity against mutant kind. That is what he's responding to. He's always been different and persecuted for it, and that's his stance.
Well, no, before he was, and that's why when he pulled up to the house, they said Magneto. Like before then, I just think we're thinking of only this season Magneto, who I agree is that person, but that doesn't erase the years of terror. Like when he pulled up to the house, they was ready to fight him immediately. That wasn't over just like some Professor X beef. That was him murdering people, him like murdering you. With Cyclops, he was like, hey, I'm gonna take over the world. You down? This is episode like 5 of the entire series. And Cyclops is like, nah, that's not my jive. He's like, oh, clap him. Like that's how he was moving. That's how he was moving. He was not just kill humans. He was about being proactive. But I agree. And I think the issue here is that when we make these nuanced villains and we have a murder a bunch of people, it muddies their point a bit. And with the X-Men in particular, it's kind of weird to make it an allegory for this and for like persecuted people, but then also have them do equally as bad stuff, because it's almost as if like saying the only way for us to do things is if we are what they say we are. And I think that's my biggest thing, is that Magneto is exactly who they say they're afraid of. They're saying these people can explode this entire world, destroy all of our stuff. And that's what he's doing. Even before then, like he brings extreme smoke, and that's one man. Is that not something that people should be afraid of?
But I think
you can't do that. You can't persecute people. You can't treat marginalized people different, and then when they respond, especially if they respond in kind, if they respond to violence with violence, then police the way that they respond. And we can see that reflected in real life as well with what's happening in Palestine. To be perfectly honest, if you want to take it there, you can't say, oh, their response was too much with October 7th. No, they're responding in kind. They're responding to the violence that they have faced for literal decades. You wouldn't sit up and say that Palestinians responding finally to that is going too far. Some would argue that, but others would say no. After decades of literal violence and genocidal behavior, you get to respond the way that you goddamn respond in order to protect your people. And I think that's also quite intentionally the parallel that they're trying to draw.
But I don't think that's something that they had in mind, because that's what I'm saying.
What do
initially,
you mean? I think
initially there were a bunch of mutants who were just being violent or exercising their power, or even not even doing it by mistake, right? People would get their powers and blow up a school. And so like they still were dangerous. And I think the difference is like there's discriminating against people for absolutely no reason, and then there's discriminating against people because if you go through puberty, you may blow up this entire school. And I'm not saying it's justified, and I'm not
such a tiny fraction of mutants had powers that were like destructive. The majority of them just looked different.
And that fraction is big.
But that's the whole point.
When we think of mutants, it's very rare. Like
them, hold on, the persecution against them was not justified, and that's the whole point. You have some of them, like the X-Men, that have these powers that are maybe not glamorous, is not the right word, but they're useful. We have Storm, who's a whole weather goddess. You have the guy with the healing factor. You have the girl that can absorb powers. Those are useful. You can put them on a battlefield. A lot of powers don't rock like that. These are simply different people in society, and that's why the hatred against them is painted the way that it is. It does reflect real life. It is an intentional parallel, and especially when it comes to X-Men 97, they are being very intentional about the messaging that they give out. Like, it's not a coincidence.
Because I was gonna say, when you think of mutants, it's very rare. Like you think about the genes, the omega level mutants. The majority of mutants are not that. They're just like people that just have a beak.
I'm not saying that it's a huge majority, but I'm saying that small minority is still a very big destructive part, right? So that's like saying, oh, we only got one nuke. Okay, I got one nuke, but if I use that one nuke, I can kill fucking millions of people with that one nuke. So like I'm not saying that the discrimination, I'm not saying that parallels is not there. I'm saying X-Men as a whole, as a franchise, and Marvel particularly, especially with the MCU and the way that they do things, it's a tricky balance to highlight persecuted people and to also have these people be capable of destroying the entire world and putting an actual rational fear, because xenophobia, that is rooted in nonsense, is my point, right? Like, we are racist towards each other for absolutely no reason, but me being racist towards a race of people that one of them can blow up the entire world, that one person can fly to the North Pole and destroy all electronics and have planes come out the air and nuclear plants like implode. That's somewhat of a
I
But it's
think
like,
because
but it's like damned
it's
if you
not a
do, damned if you
perfect
don't, right?
analogy. Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a perfect analogy for like, yeah, we don't want to say that minorities in the situation are so potentially dangerous that people are justified in feeling the way that they do about us, because it's still a comic book and it's still a cartoon. So it's not gonna, as an allegory, it's not going to align perfectly, but it has been able to stand in to represent the different marginalized groups that face prejudice is just in society in general. But to me, it's okay that these are friends of humanity bars.
Yo, facts.
They
but
are.
no, I no facts. But I just want to. I definitely see the parallels, and obviously, like, I get the themes and the tones that they're saying. I just know that niggas don't. And that's my point, because it's not a perfect, and that's why I think also Bo is going so hard with the script and being so on the nose with a lot of the script, because a lot of people still will not get the analogy, especially since the X-Men are not people of color. They are majority whites. People are dumb. People are not, they don't think critically.
People are
Especially,
very dumb.
you know, and
I don't think
that's
that
my point.
you dumb down the content for the dumb people. It's just not for them, and they can fight it out in the trenches amongst their dumb selves.
It's just the big majority.
It's Bo DeMaio, but no, Bo DeMaio's done. Like, there's a petition to get him back for season 2. And that's also something I'm worried about. Like, yeah, he wrote season 2, but I don't know what's going to happen with season 2. Because, yeah, that he wrote it, but they could gut a lot of what he wrote. They could change a lot of what he wrote. And plus, it's not just, it's the dialogue, the political intrigue. They could take all of that out for season 2. So I don't know what's going to happen.
That I am nervous about that too, because one, I mean, we don't know why he was fired, but I'm sure how radical this season is played some point in some part of it, right? Like, the execs finally saw what he put out and they was like, nah, this is crazy. And I'm sure there were other things.
Oh no, as tight as Disney is on stuff, it was before it cleared, they were aware of the content of it. I don't think that we should have petitions for people. As much as I love the work that he's done, maybe we shouldn't have petitions for people. We don't know what he did, and maybe we should ask the victims of what he allegedly did. There would have to be. So I mean, if there are or not, someone might have been affected by this. We don't know. So the lobby for someone to get their job back, and we're not completely certain. And I respect him a lot from an artistry standpoint. And then there's also what Bo himself has said. He's not solely responsible for everything good about this show. There was a team involved. So as much as just from a creative standpoint, I'm like, yeah, I hope that we don't lose anything in season 2. This narrative that one man is solely responsible for the success of the show, when there's an entire creative team that's behind it, like that, to me, I hope that we don't lean too much into that narrative. I hope the next season doesn't suck, but
it's not just the fact that it's one man, but it's also like he was the head of the shit. Like, so with all decisions, the buck stopped with him.
It's definitely, you could definitely tell when a showrunner changes on shows though. Like sometimes for the better. Like it could be the opposite,
Yeah,
right?
and it doesn't have to be bad though. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
he was
I
instrumental, yes, but
I'm just interested to I'm very it's very it's always been interesting to me because I'm like, why wouldn't they snitch if it was bad? But to your point, whatever it was, it must have been something and could have been nothing because they
it was
hired
so
a
sudden.
they hired a convicted pedophile, no problem, to do Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So like, it's
How
not
many years ago was that though?
that is
You
10 years
you
ago, but
truly,
that's the extreme, right?
yeah.
That's the extreme, and that was only 10 years ago. So within that 10 years, I'm not saying they're going that extreme, but now we know what their threshold is.
No, but we don't, because that was 10 years ago. So we can't say, well, they did this and it was okay, so it can't be this bad. No, because in 10 years you would have hoped that they
It's
learned the
better.
lesson to not hire pedophiles, or at least the known ones, because I'm sure that there are some hiding in the midst there.
And
But
shit, even 10 years ago though, I feel like, and even not even 10 years ago, right? They still, up to a couple years ago, have hired abusers. Like I was surprised honestly that they fired Jonathan Majors, and I think if public opinion were behind him, they wouldn't have. Like
Nah, they
I
would have got he
you
black.
think
They would have got
so?
rid of him. They would have got rid of him.
You think they would have got rid of him no matter what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, all we're doing is speculating at this point for something that we none of us actually know.
we'll
And I
never
think
know.
we'll never know. And I agree, Tiff. I think at this point we just gotta move on and just go with what we have. The framework is there. And I haven't seen a piece of animated X-Men work that wasn't done well. You know what I'm saying? Like it's clear the team that's behind there. Keith Houston is still a part of it. Like all these people are still a part of that team, and we just gotta trust them. And I think it's still gonna be fine.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I am on team. Let's sit down for some mediation. We can talk this out. Maybe a nice apology letter and a check of some sort can clear this up for everybody. It's just this whole like, man, I don't want season 2 to suck. And I feel like that's, if I was on the creative team of X-Men 97 and because of one person leaving, suddenly people lost faith in the show that I worked very hard to bring to life, I feel like, well shit, did I not contribute to that as well? So that's
Yeah,
just more what I'm thinking. Like,
I agree.
Bo
I
is
agree.
very instrumental, but I also want to have faith that I can't believe that because he's gone, we just got this show. So I kind of have to believe that moving forward, it's going to be as good as this first season, kind of no matter who's involved, because I want it to be a good show. So
I
I'm
agree.
hoping.
I agree. And I think they're not gonna let it fail. I think they could do really good things with it. And the framework is done in such a way, especially since there's already text to help them too, right? Like people were talking about Onslaught and all these storylines, like they have things to reference. They have guidelines. They have a team who understands the animation is there. It's just, putting it in fruition. And you're right. It's only positive thoughts. I think next season is going to be incredible. I just hope they don't wait too long to give it to us. I better see that shit by this time next year, okay? I'm talking to
1
you,
year
Bo.
is
It's gonna
reasonable,
take.
I
They're gonna
think.
take like 3 years.
No, don't
Please
say
don't. No.
that.
Take that
No,
back from the universe.
please.
And
My
I like
my
this
Adventures of
episode of
Superman. I do like weekly, and I'm glad that we as a collective have agreed that like the weekly episodes is just so much better for community because it's not COVID anymore. We don't got time to be binging
I
things
can't
Not
do
just
all
that, but like
week.
look what happened with Invincible. The second half of Invincible was really good. But I feel like nobody's really talking about it that much because they released it all at once.
No, they didn't.
I thought they did.
No, they didn't. Who told you that?
Oh well, shit. Maybe because I watched it all. Maybe because I watched it all at once.
Flex? That's
You
a
just
crazy
waited.
flex. Also, that means that you wasn't following me. I was doing weekly breakdowns. I did a live every week with Ate. You don't fuck with me. What are you talking about? Invisible that just finished?
Yeah. Didn't they release it all at once?
No, I did weekly breakdowns.
That don't mean
I've
that don't
never
mean they
seen
did.
Invincible.
That I would never do weekly breakdowns if it all came out at once. That's crazy. That's crazy work. That's too much. That's too much work, and people aren't invested. And that's why I don't like the binge model, because it's like you're forced to like review everything at once, and people can't really meaningfully engage because we watched it and we didn't take time to process and digest it. But no, Invincible was not dropped all at once.
Well, Fallout was
Okay,
dropped all at
I
once.
was trying to figure
Fallout
out
was.
what to do because Bridgerton is coming up, and I was like, "Ooh, they're gonna drop that entire first half of the season. Do I do it right then, or do I still do it episode at a time?" I'm not a binger. I can't binge. I'm not good at it.
I at least try, and this is just my advice. It's kind of helpful. At least an episode a day. But when it's full binge, it got a 2 week shelf life maybe before people. It's crazy. Maybe two
And
weeks.
that's so hard. The way that my attention span is set up, like it's real hard.
Because
I try to write notes.
X-Men has been in the conversation for like 9 weeks because we get an episode
Every
like
week.
Yeah, like if they released all these 10 episodes in one sitting, we talk about, like, of course we still love it, but we talk about it for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then we'd be moving on to the next thing.
I will say this: My Venture Superman, which is a weekly show, is coming out at the end of this month, and that show is gas. Okay, I like Marvel, but I can't wait to get back to DC. That show is one of the best Superman stories that are out there, and y'all be sleeping on it. So y'all gonna be tired of me. I can't wait. And you better watch it too, fake man up here.
What are you talking? I watched the
Mm,
season 1.
mm,
I like season 1.
mm. Anyway, let's
Real
finish.
quick, I want one line I want to shout out because I love this line when Jean and Storm, when she was like, "Make them mind your weather," and then she was like, "Make them weather your mind." I said, "You better eat." Whoever wrote that, you better eat.
It was this moment. I love this girl crush. I love this girl crush here. It's honestly my favorite. But it also shows their mutual respect for each other, which before I was like, did they respect each other before?
Those are sisters.
Not in the original. No, they barely.
I didn't know that.
They barely act like they knew each other.
Yeah, they didn't really show it, but we know from their comic book relationship how close they are. So it's good that they're showing it now.
I do, yeah. But yeah, let's finish with this climax. I will say this. I don't know what Charles was doing here, but I have a sense that he was having him. First of all, he's in full agony. I'm almost certain he was making him relive the Holocaust again because he did that like episode 1. We meet Charles, Magneto pulls up. He said, "Oh, I know exactly how to stop him." It has him relive the Holocaust. And so I think that also whatever he did to him here is also a reason why he reacted so aggressively to when he was done, you know?
Well, I think we know what he was doing because they said, "I'm going to take control of him and make him bring back the magnetosphere." So he was trying to force him, and Magneto, I'm pretty sure, was fighting against it. So that's why it was painful. But he was like trying to make him use his powers.
You don't think he slapped a little something in there for good measure?
He was showing. He was like, "Remember this ass? Like, you better
remember this ass.
Yeah, you better clean up, or you ain't getting none of this no more."
Oh no! Remember that time?
Oh, I feel like he definitely was in pain, especially because using his powers to that degree, like it's a huge use of his power. But now he's being forced to do it against his will, so he's screaming in agony. Sorry to take the fun out of the sexy moment.
I know, but no, I agree.
Back to business. He was in pain.
He was in pain. And yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Charles be talking all that kumbaya shit, but Charles is he's not a great guy. Even when he was on Shi'ar, he pulled them all into that classroom without their consent. Like, Charles really moves his muscles, like, very, very not in a good way. And I think we see that a little bit with Jean. Whenever Jean pulls up on people, she immediately enters their mind. And I think that was some of the reason why Cable was annoyed. He said, "Well, get out of here." Like,
get up out my head.
The second you pull up, she's like, "Oh, who's this?" And she learned that from Charles. Like, ask.
But also, if you're a telepath, that's like your go, because Emma does the same shit. Like all telepaths.
Emma's rude. Emma, you know what you get with Emma. She's like, I'll give a fuck who you, da, da, da. But Charles is over here like, I care about equality and
And
love.
that's the thing with Emma. That's why I fucks with Emma, because she doesn't make any, she's not hiding it. And in the
Yes.
beginning, when they were just like, oh, in order to kind of see if this guy was going to betray us, we would have to scan his mind every minute. And Cyclops is like, then that's what we're going to do. And Jean's like, we're not doing that. Emma would have been like, I've been doing that since he walked through the door. You don't even
Yeah,
have to
facts,
say,
facts.
I'm already here. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck are you talking
she
about?
be
Like, why are you telling me that? I know. Do you think I'm stupid? Like, to me, that's the difference. She doesn't pretend to be anything except, well, she pretends quite a bit, but she's very honest about how she uses her powers, and that's all up in somebody else's business.
Yeah.
Love that for her.
Yeah. I call him the Lawrence. If you guys ever seen Insecure, he's a Lawrence. He has this facade of being this good boy, of being the pinnacle of like morality, but really he's a fuck boy. Oh, what
Was
is going
it
on in these comics?
Was it X-Men Red? Oh my god, Raw no lube. Was it X-Men Red, or was one of them recently when Aurora was on that date with Craig of NASA and
It was
Charles
X-Men Red.
interrupted?
It was X-Men
Yeah,
Red.
Charles interrupted, and then when she goes to have us first, you interrupted my date. First of all, fuck you for that alone. And then when she went to go meet up with him, he wants to know the last thing Magneto said to her before he died, and she's like, "That's my business." And so he tries to read her mind. Then she uses that red triangle technique to push him the fuck back out. And she basically like psychically smacks him, like backhands him across the face.
And then told him about himself.
You told me that method to keep telepaths out my motherfucking brain is because you don't have any goddamn respect. Who are you to think that you can just come waltzing into my mind? Charles literally does not have respect for people. He says that he does, but he exercised this a degree of control and minimizing what their lives are. And he kind of checked himself on it, but way too late, telling Aurora she's not a goddess to these people.
That's why I was like,
kind. Fuck you. Like,
that's why I was like, I wish Storm had a moment where she basically told Charles he ain't shit.
I think a big piece of
another thing.
I think a big piece of it too, which they really touch on, is that Charles sees them as his children. And you know how parents are. Parents don't see children as equals, right? It's almost as if we're property that they can control. We're like one step above a dog to them, a pet to them. You know what I'm saying? We're not a pet, but we close. And they just feel like they have full autonomy. They feel like we can't make decisions on our own. And when you create boundaries, it's almost as like disrespectful, and they're going to, yeah, thank you for this word for the alley. They're going to undermine every decision that you make because they feel like their thought process and their thoughts are best, even when your experience exceeds theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes my mom will give me advice on like this stuff. I'm like, Mom, you can't restart your iPhone. What do you give me advice on this, right? But in their heads, right? Everything you do should be by the grace of them. They are responsible for every moment. So even when you set up boundaries, they feel entitled. And I'm not saying it's right. I think that shit is fucked up, our relationship with our parents. But I think that that's why Charles specifically moves like that with the X-Men. But these are grown-ass people with children, with lives, you know? So he's like moving. Oh, and I didn't even bring that up. When he was like, when he talked to Cyclops, and he was like, Cyclops was like, why would you make Magneto? Why would you give the estate to Magneto? That's crazy. This is your fault. And he was like, I wanted you to live a life. And he was like, you brought me into this cause. You thought I was just going, I can't walk away from this now. How dare you? And I was like, Charles, act like he don't know what being a revolutionary is. You can't just be like, I'm going to do it today and then leave. You started this fight. These people are still out here. What did he think these people were going to do? Go with him to fuck off to Shi'ar? Ain't no way.
And the fact, like, I'm grown. Like, you can respect me enough to give me that decision or tell me what your plan is. Like, you set me up to be like the leader. I'm the field leader. I'm the first in command. But you didn't trust me enough to be honest with what your intentions are. And now this guy, Magneto, gets to walk in and be like, you're my team and this is my mansion and my money now? Like, no, fuck you. Like, why would you do that? You don't love me for real. You don't respect me.
After all Cyclops did for him too, I'd be really.
And again,
hurt.
going back to what Desmond Weather said, it's about the undermining of Cyclops, and what Tiffie said, like, you didn't even give me a heads up. It's like, I'm almost 40 years old, and when I be trying to leave the house, my mother still be like, where you going? What time you coming? Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you don't need to know where I'm going. Or like, my mother be like, where you at? And I'm like, I'm at New York. What's in New York? I'm going to New York. That's all you need to know. Like,
somebody said, what unhealthy adults have you had in your life? I apologize. Yo, any Gen, what's before us? X?
before
Most of
us,
them.
Gen X, I think.
Most of them are unhealthy, especially if they're Caribbean, Puerto Rican. Stop it. Stop the cap. You must be part of that generation.
Facts.
Gaslighting us. Gaslighting us. Like, y'all don't be telling
To
kids.
me, it was Cyclops. Oh, I just want to ask the professor, how were you such a good father? Who?
Where?
Who
Yeah,
was it?
what? Who?
was
Yeah.
it?
Go ahead and ask Legion. What's up? Get the tea from him.
But that was episode 2 Cyclops. I don't think episode 9 Cyclops would be saying. You saw how he's moving.
He
He's
said
like,
that. No,
No.
he said that like episode. That was recent.
Like last
That was like
episode, he
8.
said that. When he was struggling with Cable. That was last episode he said it. And I said, bro.
he don't feel
Right,
that way
like
no more. He don't feel
Charles
that way no more.
Xavier? Charles
right,
Francis Xavier?
right,
Like,
right now, let's not use the Francis, please. We're talking about I do not want to be associated with that man, please.
I always thought your name was Francesca.
Everybody does because it's cooler.
Why don't you just be Why don't you just be like Francesca?
Trans name him.
Trans name.
It's the family
What?
name.
Francis is the family name?
Yeah, so we got a lot of them. We got a Fanny,
You're more
a
than the
Frankey.
name bestowed upon you.
Facts. That's why
For
I got
yourself.
Frankey.
It's like coming to America. Your mama called you Cletus. I'm gonna call your mama called you Francis.
But yeah, let's I gotta show this scene. We gotta finish it off strong. Okay, so we see my man violating over. How did I get like this?
Yeah, I was like, what you doing?
Fuck us, I guess.
Yeah, right. That's what I said. She pulled a Magneto. Like, damn.
I said it's all. I looked up. I said, "What?" But yeah, so after he's violated, he said, "Absolutely not, absolutely not." Everybody, and this is the scene I was talking about. He just not him. I don't know why that shit is so funny to me. Look, everybody strapped, even Jubilee. Down bad. Oh, I keep on forgetting her plus. And I know this isn't right. I know it's not right, but my thing is like, why are you being so rude? Why are you so disrespectful? This is why he called Earth Ghetto. Also, I called it. I'm Gen X. Luckily, I decided to get my PhD in psychology, so I understand the trauma. I don't know. You tried to gaslight us earlier. So go ahead, brush up. And I got it on time. This shit is so funny. But also look how messed up his chair is.
That chair was basically
right.
destroyed.
That's a messed up chair. You talking about Cyclops messed up his chair?
He did, because some of that is Cyclops. Some of that is Cyclops.
A tiny fraction of that is Cyclops. That is
a tiny fraction. I was very sad for him to see him in a regular wheelchair with the blanket over his leg. I was like, what? Why you put got on? Does he not have on pants? Why you put that blanket on? I used to think that.
I was wondering.
I think that they were mermaids.
Oh God.
He was cold.
He was cold.
But
he paralyzed.
It makes me wonder if people that are paraplegic, if their extremities get colder because there's less blood flow or anything can be happening. So I wonder if the blanket is literally to keep them warm because he does not have use of his legs.
They cannot feel anything down there, including
that doesn't mean that their body doesn't sustain damage.
You're saying to like regulate the rest of it. Maybe. I always thought it was I don't like the way my legs look because it's atrophy. And then before then, like I said, I thought they were mermaids trying to hide.
But it's also to a certain extent though, too, because like I know like there are people that are paraplegic, they don't have usage of their legs, but like genitalia wise, like men, like they still can get erections, they still can
always bring it in to sex.
But I'm just saying, like there's a level there's still a level of feeling there.
So you saying the blanket was to hide his erection?
No, that's not what I was. No, I'm saying that
why you brought?
because I said he was cold. You said he don't feel nothing, so I'm like, you can. There's some level of feeling.
Well, I'm not here to debate it. And we can bring LJ next time. He can give us a lowdown. I just thought this shit was funny as fuck. The spin is crazy. We just gonna ignore the mermaid hide, y'all. I think that's a legit theory.
No, I reacted to it and
That's a
chose
legit.
not to engage.
That's
Is
a
it
legit
Frankie?
theory. No,
Francis?
y'all never seen Splash?
I've seen it.
Okay. If it's raining out, you may get wet. Your legs may turn back into a fin blanket.
So I'm gonna
Retired mermaids. Noted, and you know what it was? It was because I'd see a bunch of old like women with blankets in their legs in a wheelchair. I was like, retired mermaids. Okay,
you're pretty, and that's what counts.
I heard. We really supposed to be watching this trauma. We talking about erections and mermaids, okay? And anger here. Okay. Blankets are waterproof though, but it's so you can't see. Okay. But I'm here for this, for Charles in his jumpsuit. Looking a little dumb. And you know what? I also felt like he put the helmet on Charles instead of himself because it was dented and he wanted it to hurt him. But that's my head canon.
Well, like probably because I was thinking of that, but also it completely reduces Charles's powers,
so he can't use it at all.
Yeah, he can't use
it.
That's
what I assumed. He's using his metal to keep because it's designed to keep it's strong enough to prevent telepathy from getting in, and I think that's why he put it on Charles. You can't use your powers at all.
And I think,
I took away your leg, like your wheelchair, so you basically
you're helpless.
You in trouble. Yeah. You got nothing.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
I think it's also, I always love the thought that like Magneto does not fear anyone else but Charles because he never has issues being just naked, head out around any other telepath but Charles. And that Charles just irks his nerves. So even here, he's like, if there's another telepath on the ship hiding, I don't care. It's about Charles right now.
Not even just that, but also like for the most part, Charles is not to say the only one that could take him out, but he's the one that he should fear the most.
It shouldn't. Technically, it shouldn't. It should be Jean. But Jean's not paying. Now she's not paying.
I'm saying, but Jean's not at this
fight. He don't know that she's not there. She could be ducked. Imagine. But you're right. She's not there. He does know because they're not the type to hide in ambush. They jump. Full stop. And so whoever's there is there. But this is my thing about Wolverine. First thing I thought about too, I forgot that Wolverine, not that I forget, but I do forget that like Wolverine is older than everyone there. And he makes a comment of like, I was never impressed with you or something like that. Like reminding us that he watched this man grow up basically and grow old. And he's like, you're mid. You know what I'm saying? And I mean,
so what was the line that he said to him?
I gotta find it. I don't know.
No, he said something about I've seen a lot of wars or something like that.
No, that's the ending line. When he first pulls up before the fight, he says something along the line of like, I was never impressed with you or something like that. I gotta find it. It was here.
But with that, is this the first time we've seen blood on this show?
Genosha, no blood.
We saw. I just remember the blood that Madeline used to do her lipstick, and then she went and kissed Cyclops.
Oh,
and that's how I knew this show was gonna be different.
Dang, that is one of my favorite episodes. It's the most stylistic. Like, if I had to rate it, it'd be lower. But yeah, but even this, like, I love that he pulled the claws back too. But like, even if he didn't do something this extreme, right? He could have bet him into a pretzel. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? And this is my real question. This act of him stabbing Magneto, do you think it was dumb or heroic?
I think that Wolverine is always going to do what the rest of the team can't. Like, nobody else really wanted to kill. And Wolverine is always the one that's going to do what's tough. He's gonna do the kill because it's hard. Because
I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is hard.
Or I could take it. I think that's a bigger thing, right? Is that like he'll do stuff Like when they were on Savage Island, when they all get captured, I always want to call it's an island. Why do they call it Savage Land? When he's on Savage Land, he jumps off the cliff, and that's how he's able to get away because he could jump off a cliff. You get what I'm saying?
It's also I think because of his age and because of what he's seen, he can do the stuff that's gonna like psychologically fuck up the other X-Men. Wasn't there a kid that the one that like what was that kid's power? He was one that had the one that had the gas that escaped from his body and like he kind of killed everyone that was around him or something like that. But he was super dangerous with what his mutation was. And so Wolverine basically had to go meet up with him and he had to mercy kill that kid because unfortunately his mutation was so out there. He was just literally, he exuded like this gas that killed everyone around him. And it was really sad because this kid is not a bad guy. He wasn't doing anything but existing. And Wolverine had to put him down. So he does the hard thing because of the war he's seen, because of this very difficult life. He can handle that psychologically fuck up stuff that the X-Men can't. Some of them can't.
His memory's all over. He gonna forget it anyway. So
I have to say, y'all are some killers. Between the pillow, I've been seeing nothing but murder conspiracies all up and down this.
Well, you also said you be a villain too. So like,
I wasn't talking about murdering. I robbed some banks.
Oh my bad, we weren't talking about murder.
I mean, if it comes to I'm a murderer, that's not my go-to.
Because we were talking about Wolverine.
It's not Magneto's go-to. It's not Magneto's go-to.
It's for sure Magneto's go-to, and that's okay. He don't like people trying him. And I think after a certain point, I think also because I've been watching reading House of the Dragon. After a certain point, whenever somebody tries you, you gotta just kill them. Like when you're at a certain status, right? You gotta just. He let Wolverine try him at the beginning of this fight, and he got stabbed.
Power.
Listen, this man, Magneto let Wolverine step to him at the beginning of this fight, and he didn't do anything. He let Rogue tackle him. Had he given him a harder tap, maybe he wouldn't have gotten stabbed. Murder on Live is crazy. Let me tell you. I'm just saying. Some murders stop other murders. Is all I'm saying. Sometimes when people try.
Hold on. Okay, but that doesn't align with.
You might probably about to say the same thing.
The stuff that you said earlier, because earlier you saying how wrong
I'm a villain.
What a villain.
I'm a villain.
Okay. So that's why you align with Magneto, because you're saying that Magneto was wrong for
his actions,
but you're saying that a murder justifies another murder.
Exactly. I was like, we was literally about to say the same thing. Like, I was like, wait a minute.
At the same time, like
we had a whole argument earlier.
I want y'all to be better. I want y'all to be better than me. Is my point. I am the one you stop. I'm not the one. I'm not the hero. I'm not the future.
I enable you. I'm the villain PR lady. You're gonna get caught, and I'm gonna get you out. That's my role.
She's Olivia Pope, and I'm one of the gladiators.
Child, Hellfire Frankey.
I'm the one that cleans up your sloppy stories when you get caught.
Got my cleavage. I got my cleavage and my thighs out at the gala. Yes, that's me. Okay, but I'm talking shit. I'm like, all y'all fucked up, but I'm doing fucked up shit too. You feel me? Like, I know what's messed up.
Do you remember when we were in the danger room and that man didn't say all the rules and then changed them at some point and was just like, you got it. That's why you got to stay on the battlefield. Anything can happen. That's the exact same energy of what just happened here. I just want
Hope did that so you wouldn't have to. Exactly. Exactly. Don't be like me. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for all of us. All right.
I'm sure.
I think I froze.
You froze? You did freeze.
Your camera is completely gone.
I don't see it go.
I can still hear y'all, but I don't know what happened. Like, my whole shit froze. Like, the comments, like, I can't scroll through the comments. I can't, like, my whole shit just frozen. But I can still hear everybody.
Dang.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
And them ending the episode right there was crazy. That was
I agree. Mike, you look crazy here. You just frozen. It's all right. We were at the end of the episode anyway.
I'm gonna leave and come right back.
Yeah. Either way, while you're
Right.
gone, we'll go to Tiff, and you let us know like what's your final thoughts on this episode.
I'm excited. You know, I think it's such a great show. I think that because I don't watch a whole lot of stuff because everything is like with that binging model. So I think it's been such a really great ride, especially just the community that's come out of it. It's been fun making like weekly episodes about it, doing the recaps, being on Twitter. Black Twitter is just so unmatched, and the jokes that have emerged between like the memes that Black Nerd Problem does, and just people joking on this in general, just weekly. It watching this show with people has been so great. It very much has taken me back to my childhood in a sense, except the show has kind of grown up with us. So for this to be the show, the episode right before the season finale, I'm very excited for the finale. And yeah, that's all I have.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this show is so good at creating conversation and giving perspective on what in ways that like I never considered would come from a cartoon. I think it's done beautifully. This episode, at first, I was like, this is a 4 out of 5 because it's not the Genosha episode. And then after I watched it the second time, I was like, Cap, this is an excellent episode, like start to finish. It's done well. The storytelling, the animation, the philosophical questions, the responses, like, and the season as a whole, like I said, like everyone has a personality, everyone has like things to gain, things to lose. And I really love that. Oh, Cal said, what do you want to see from Al said, what do you want to see from the finale? What do I think? I'm not a big theory person. I don't like to theorize. I like to just experience. What I want to see from the finale is not a cliffhanger, I would say.
Mm.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm not a big theory person either. And we kind of know they're following certain comic book storylines, but they've also done a really good job of just like taking inspiration from and remixing it in a really good way. So I'm open to the journey. And same thing, I don't want to be on a cliffhanger. I don't want to wait 3 years to find out what happens next. So hopefully it's not a long wait.
We do have a question. Is Wolverine dead? No.
No.
You're not gonna like who's left. You're not gonna like who's left.
I don't know
but
what happened. I had to restart my whole computer.
Oh no. Well, we were just giving our final thoughts, and then what do you want from the final episode?
What do I want from the final episode? I want to see, like I said, talk about more. I want to see Morph get a comeuppance or a moment where he like punches the shit out of Sinister. What else? And I don't know. I think that's pretty much the biggest thing I want to see. I know it's gonna end on like a big cliffhanger.
No, that's the one thing I asked for not to have.
I think it's gonna end. I think it's gonna end on a cliffhanger.
No, everybody's talking. I'm not even gonna say the name.
And we're gonna see the Phoenix. And we're gonna see the Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix for sure.
We're gonna see Phoenix. We're gonna see Phoenix.
Because once I saw her get blasted away and call this guy, I was like, how many times? Okay, this is the darkest thought I had all episode. When she pulled in Scott to say she loved him right before she got blasted to all hell, I was like, I'd leave her if she came back because I can't take you dying and coming back every goddamn year. Emotionally, I watched you die twice in the last 2 weeks, sis.
Yeah, he lost Madeline. Now he's
losing
how you all make that you die
like,
every time?
Right, because you could be like, on one hand, you're really strong because you keep coming back to life, but on the other hand, you keep getting killed. So how does that happen? Like, you're also kind of weak.
Because I'm still going through the trauma.
To be fair, she's fighting her son, who's like another Omega. Like,
and Cable doesn't really use his powers.
No, he doesn't.
You know what I'm saying? I think that she was holding back.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
She's better than me. Because
okay.
I don't care. And you're my husband. So, he's trying to kill me right now. I am so sorry, baby. I had to kill your son. You would not believe what this little nigga tried to do.
But he's being manipulated.
I don't give a damn.
I'm not trying to die. Yeah. And he wasn't being manipulated when he called me a dirty hoe earlier. He ain't say that, but he was implying it. He was like, that's not my mom, that scallywag.
He was like, I remember when you called my mama it. Don't ask me how I remember. The future is weird, but
that is one thing I will say about Jean. Her talking about, oh, Madeline's with me. That's my sister. All this, bitch. You just called her it like 2 days ago.
But
Like,
that
what do you mean?
I think that's her trying to like center herself because like remember to her she is Madeline too. So she's trying to like what's it called? She's trying to dehumanize Madeline so that to make sense of her sharing a life. It's not right.
That's one take on it. I didn't see it as trying to dehumanize Madeline. I do think that they wrote it in as Jean genuinely trying to make space for Madeline and what happened. But I think it falls into that unfortunate kind of space of them not giving enough time for in the series, in the season, for more of these like human moments and for them processing. So for us, it seems like this very huge jump, but because we didn't get to see Jean's journey in accepting what had happened between them. So for her to go from, yeah, Sinister ripped up a part of me and you loved it, to, I thought of Madeline as a sister. Bitch, shut up, because that's not what you said last episode. We're not seeing the time that passes where she's had time to sit with this and heal. And I think that that's one of the very, very few flaws in this series, is that we don't get those moments.
Absolutely. And I mean, the only time it started to register to me was when she was like, I remember giving birth. I remember doing this. And that's when I was like, damn, that has to be so confusing. Especially since people are reminding you that like some of your most precious, your proudest memories may not be yours. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit gotta be hard. I'd be talking shit about Madeline too. I'm not gonna hold you.
And there was that moment where Sinister kind of teased her. It was like, I could tell you when I switched you.
But the point is, it doesn't matter, right? We're never gonna learn.
And I'm sorry, you know what's very, very rude? Telling somebody, I know your genes. Don't say that to me. Don't say that to me. That's weird. I don't like that. You know,
but he does though. He does.
It doesn't matter if it's true.
It was violating.
It's very much a violation. You know my genes. I don't even know my genes. Fuck you. Like
I think that was more. I think that line was more for the audience because people were like, how the hell he keeping up with Jean Grey and Omega Level Mutant? That I think that was their way of being like,
he knows why. Okay.
I think he meant it. He does know her genes. He knows more about her in this moment than she does. I just think that that's a violation. Don't say some shit like that to me. Now I gotta fight you. I was gonna talk, but now I gotta swing.
Fair. All right. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Let's start with Tiffie, please. If you guys aren't living under a rock, that's where you must be if you don't know who Tiffie is. But for those who are, let them know where they can find them. She's definitely famous.
You can find me across all social media. It is at Tiffie Starchild. I'm very active on TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, that's where you can find me on the internet.
All right, Mike.
The link is in the description box below, so make sure you follow. All of our links are in the description box below. But yeah, Black Gay Comic Geek, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that stuff.
And you can find me at Fantastic Frankey, Frankey, on all platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like the key to your heart.
MICKEYMOUSC.
You know what I'm saying? But yes, thank you guys. We'll catch you next week. We'll probably have a big episode. I heard Omar trying to pop in too. He's trying to lock in. Trouble. And yes, I'll be at MomoCon at the end of the year. I'll see you guys there. And thank you guys. We're all good.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again. If you're watching on replay, hit the like button.